Alright, let's jump back in for our reading. So I've got four, maybe 3.5 reading textbooks, and then I want to show you some novels. So if you know me, I love reading in Korean. I love it so much. It makes me feel so like fulfilled. Like when I'm able to read a page of Korean, especially like natural Korean, like a novel as opposed to a textbook, I feel so proud of myself. It probably stems from the fact that I'm just like, I've been a bookworm since I was like old enough to read. Like when I was in my like kindergarten class, they had to give me like grade 3 books for like book bags, and because I was like just reading forever. So that's probably why I get so much satisfaction from that, because to me nothing seems more pure than reading a piece of work in the original language and seeing how they express what they want to express. So first I'll show you the 3.5 textbooks. The one I'm currently using the most and absolutely loving is the 문화가 있는 한국어 읽기. I have the third one, which is probably like, it's a bit easy for me. So it's probably high beginner, low intermediate. However, I think it's a good warm-up. It kind of relaxes my brain a lot. And yeah. So I really want to go for the 4th and 5th books, but I have to finish some stuff first. Sorry, that's my boyfriend texting me. So yeah, I love this book. 1 second, let me check. Okay, I turned off my cacao sounds. So yeah, back to this. So again, I'll do the same thing. I'll give a rating and I'll do a 2 pros, 2 cons. And okay, so I rate this book 5 out of 5. Really, 5 out of 5. I love this book so much. 2 pros. The first pro is that the readings are all cultural readings so far, at least in this book. Well, yeah, it's 문화가 있는, so like it's all cultural readings, and I live in Korea, so it's stuff that I'm learning and then I can go outside and witness. And it's not like weird cultural stuff. Like, not weird. I mean like stuff that you don't see, or rare cultural stuff. It's stuff you see everywhere. Like the first reading is about what they do at the Han River. The next one is about like one of the palaces that you can go to and what you can do there. Like, I love it. And the second is that there's a lot of comprehension questions. So there's 4 pages of comprehension exercises, and that's something I really love because I like to test how much I can understand, because sometimes I understand the total context. However, details can be a little bit messy for me. So I have struggled with that a little bit. However, this one really helps me kind of know where I have to look and like that kind of stuff. The second pro, that was the second pro. I could keep talking about this, but I'm probably going to make a whole video on this very soon. I'm about halfway through, so when I finish it, I'm going to do a whole review. So 기대해주세요. Yeah, so that's that. 2 cons. I don't really have cons for these. Okay, one con. There's a assignment page. There's an assignment page that you have to use, and it's kind of like self-answers. Some of them can be kind of hard to understand, and you also cannot get any corrections unless you get someone to check it for you. So I get my boyfriend to check, because they're not heavily writing based, but I get him to check to make sure I'm using the right phrasing, the right vocab, like stuff like that. So you can do it that way and it'll be fine. So yeah. Next reading textbook is another one that I absolutely love. I want to mention that I'm not the biggest fan of the Talk to Me in Korean books, because a lot of them maybe I'll make a video. I love Talk to Me in Korean as a whole. Just some of their books I find are kind of useless, maybe for me at a higher level, they're a bit more useless, but maybe for a beginner, they're totally great. But I love news in Korean. I absolutely love this. When I was studying for TOPIK, this helped me so much. So it's just small news articles. They're split into types, like they have society, science, economics, like stuff like that. And so you can kind of pick something you want to read for the day, and then you can just read it. They have audio files read by one of the Talk to Me in Korean teachers. Some people said they're too fast, but I think at my level they're quite good, like well paced. And they kind of do read them in like a newscaster voice. So I love this. I rate it 5 out of 5 stars, which I never thought I would do for a Talk to Me in Korean book. Like, I'm not shaming Talk to Me in Korean, really, don't get me wrong. I've talked about it on Instagram before. It's just, personally, I find a lot of their books not helpful to me. So yeah, and 2 pros, you have the audio files. I think it's really important for training your ear that you can listen first. So I'll do a review because I want to talk about how I studied with it, but audio file is good. Audio files are good. That's first pro. Second pro is there is some comprehension exercises that get you using the vocab, that get you kind of trying to understand the context and the detail. I love that. I love comprehension exercises. It makes me feel like a queen when I get them right. Yeah, so I love this. 2 cons. It's a little hard. Some of the vocabs are really hard, and if you don't live in Korea and you're not interacting with daily Korean stuff like society and stuff like that, it might be words that you don't really need. Or if you're not planning to come here and live, or if you're not planning to like study here or something, they can be kind of not useless, but kind of less important vocabulary. However, it's great for increasing your reading comprehension. And second con, I don't have a second con. Maybe I'm biased because I love it so much, but I don't have a second con for this book. So yeah, and then the last, this is the 1.5 reading textbooks. I have the Yonsei Ilgi 2 and 3, so I'm including this as 1.5, not 2 books. I bought these about a year ago, and I didn't realize that the 2 was going to be way too low level for me. So I'm actually trying to rush through it now. Because I want to finish it because I feel guilty because they were kind of expensive. They were like $25. So I want to finish it. I figure the reading practice is great. I've been speaking. And then I have 3, which is like still kind of low level for me. However, again, I might try to sell it, or I might just do it and have fun with it. Like, yeah, so my 2 pros, there's lots of really good, like, varied topics, and they kind of increase in level. My other pro, so this is a pro maybe only to some people, not to me, but it's a pro that I want to tell you, is that these kind of level off with their grammar books. So if you're doing like level 3, Yonsei level 3 grammar, the grammar and vocab that you find in here will be what you're learning in the textbook. I'm not sure if that's true now because I think they recently updated their textbooks, but I assume if you have the older versions that they will link up and make a lot more sense. 2 cons, can I make 1 con like really shallow and petty? The size of these books is ridiculous. Like, this is my news in Korean book, which is like a really standard book, and then the reading ones are so tall. They make my bookshelf look really ugly, and that's a really shallow and like lookist kind of opinion. And another con is that there are a lot of personal response answers that are meant to be done in a classroom with a teacher, and if you're self-studying, that can be a hindrance to you, or something that makes you a bit more like less confident. So yeah, again, it might be something you need checked. They are university textbooks, so they're kind of meant for in the classroom. So yeah. Okay, so lastly for our reading, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that the past year and a half, I've been delving into the world of Korean novels. I live in Korea. I thought I would take the advantage of being able to go and just pick a novel. I have a lot of options. I have a lot of choice. So yeah, I'm gonna show you where you can buy some Korean novels as well, online and offline. Well, I mean like physical books and ebooks. So I want to show you the first book that I read start to finish in Korean. You've probably seen it on my story, but it's called 86일 파리 읽기. So this is a travel essay journal, which is an insanely popular genre in Korean. So literally just normal everyday people, they travel somewhere, and they kind of just take pictures and document what they did, and then they just publish their little diary. I think it's so cute. Actually, the author of this book contacted me on Instagram after I started posting about it, and she followed me and I follow her, and it's really cute and she's really sweet. And yeah, so I think I rated this book like, so novels as a whole, I'll tell you at the end. So this book I rate 4 out of 5. Wonderful, great. I had so much fun reading it. For novels, I'm just gonna give you one pro, one con, and it's gonna be about novels as a whole. But first, I just wanted to show you my first fully read Korean book. It took me about 7 or 8 months to read. I got the recommendation from Sarah from Sarangsa Studies, my good friend who just left Korea, unfortunately. She recommended it to me, and then I bought it and I was able to read it. So there's this. The book that I'm currently reading and have been reading since January 10th, it's now July 8th, is this book, also recommended to me by Sarah. This is the 책을 지키려는 고양이. It's like kind of a YA novel. It's Japanese translated into Korean, so it's not really like a true Korean novel. However, it's so easy to understand. Like, there's some very specific vocab, and I have to, like, when it gets into like the descriptive parts, like describing where they are and stuff, I do have to look up a lot of words. However, there's a lot of dialogue, and there's a lot of easy to understand notions. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm about 40% finished. I took a long break from it while I was studying for TOPIK because I didn't have time. And then I want to show you the 2 novels that I'm planning on reading next. They're both very different genres. The first one is called 답장이 없으면 let's try one more time. 답장이 없으면 슬프긴 했게 하겠다. So this is like a kind of like a poetic essay book. I wanted to challenge myself and kind of get into something a little bit more poetic, and I plan to get my boyfriend to help me a lot with this, to understand like the idioms and the wording and like the metaphors and stuff. I know I got this recommendation from another study grammar. I think it's Sujong Studies. I'll link her in the description because she's currently flying through some essay books like this. So I saw this and I really wanted to read it, but we'll see how it goes. And then the other one is Snack in Muna. So this one, I was at the bookstore with Jessica from Aussie in Asia the other day, one of my best friends here in Korea, and I saw this and I was like, I need it. So it's literally just little short writings, like essays and stuff about snacks. It gets into the psychology, the history, the culture, the economics behind snacks all over the world. I'm a huge snacker. I literally will not eat meals, I'll just snack all day. And I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like, so it's like each reading is like 3 or 4 pages, and they're divided by topics. So like the economics, the history, the culture, the whatever. And I thought it'd be really great for increasing my vocabulary. I tend to like to read more stories and like diary essays, but this is kind of like a more of a nonfiction type book with a lot more technical vocab. There's also a lot of pictures inside and things you can like interact with, and it's really cool. So I ordered this. I can't wait to start it. Actually, I kind of already read a few, but it'll be good that I can kind of read it alongside of this. I can just pick 1 or 2 articles that I want to read every week and just kind of roll with it. So yeah, we got that done. Novels. I rate novels 4 out of 5. 2 pros is that there's so many different genres. You can choose essays, history, science, literature, like you can, and there's so many levels. Like you can choose kids books, young adult books, adult books, like stuff like this. And another pro is that like if you read a book that's been translated from English into Korean, you can so like the second book I read start to finish was The Fault in Our Stars because I read it in English. So I wanted to try my first novel as something that I've already read. So if you pick a Korean novel that is translated from English from a book that you already know, you have a higher chance of being able to understand the context and make guesses about vocabulary. I have a whole video planned about how I study with books. So yeah, so 2 cons is that levels vary a lot. If you pick a book that has a lot of specific vocabulary, you might get discouraged. So like I tried to read Harry Potter and I tried to read The Little Prince in Korean, and I had to stop both of them because despite them being children's book, the vocab was just very specific to those worlds, and it was vocab that at the time I didn't really want to learn, or that it wasn't helpful to improving my Korean. So it's kind of hard to identify what book is going to be the right level for you. And then a second con is that like they're kind of long. Like the essay book that I read is about 232 pages, and yeah, you can get shorter novels, but it's just, I don't know, picking a novel is one of the hardest things, I think. So finding the novel that you can read and that is an appropriate immersive level for you is really difficult. Yeah, but that's it. So that's it for the reading section. Thank you for staying tuned thus far.